Hi, this is Tammy from puzzlering.com and uchtuk.com. Today we're going to be solving the 6WB. This solution will work for both the ladies' 6WB and the men's 6WB. So first, what I like to do is identify the bands. This is a 6-band puzzle ring, so you'll have 2 top crossing bands and then 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and I call those the outside bands because when they cross over, if you follow the loop here, it goes up and then it's the outside bands here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 outside bands. But if you're following this video and you found me online, it's most likely your ring looks like this. So in order to identify the bands, the first thing we want to do is identify the top bands. Those are fairly easy to identify because you're going to have the 4 bands, the 4 outside bands are going to be intertwined here with the 2 top bands. But the way I identify the topmost band is that one's got a smooth top versus the band that crosses underneath has a little dimple here because that's where this band is going to cross over, right at that dimple point. Okay? The next thing I want to do is I want to ensure that the outside bands are in the correct position. So I have 4 of them, so that means I should have 2 on the right and 2 on the left. But right now I have this one here, and you can see it's in the wrong position because it's facing towards its other partner over here, so that means it's in the wrong position. But it's pretty easy. I just need to bring it down and around. So now I have 2 bands on the right and 2 bands on the left, and I can look at it and I can see that they're each a little bit different. This one is the widest band, the widest angle, and they kind of go progressively. So this goes the widest one, and then the next one, and the next one, and then this is going to be the smallest angle. So hopefully you can see that. Now what I want to do is then I want to drop these 4 bands to the same side. I don't want to drop them opposite sides. Keep them together and drop them to the same side of the 2 top bands. And then I'm going to take the dimple band, which is in my right hand, and I am right-handed, so I'm going to work with it here. And I'm going to feed it so that it rests inside of this top band. And to do that, I'm going to turn the bands upside down, take the dimpled band, turn it clockwise, and rest it right into that top band. So you see what happens is it forms a figure 8, and those bands are locked into each other, and they've now locked these 4 bands together. Let me try to do that from this angle so you can see. So I take the dimpled band, okay? See, there's the dimple right there. I take the dimple band, turn it clockwise, and rest it right into that top band. Okay? The next step is to make sure I've got these bands in the correct position so that I'm feeding in the correct band first. So first I want to make sure that they're all kind of lined up, not twisted or knotted amongst each other, because if they're twisted or knotted, that's going to make the next steps harder. So I'm going to turn and look at them. And I know that this is the outermost band, mainly because when I look at this ring, I can see that this angle is really small. So there's just a dimple here and a dimple here, and then that starts that sort of arc for the outside. So I know that I need to feed this band in first. And to do that, I'm going to turn it and make sure that I get all 3 of these bands under it. So you can see they're under it now. They move, it moves freely. And I'm going to turn it into that hole and then fold it down. Sometimes I refer to it as like a hinge. So it's kind of like a hinge and it folds down. You shouldn't have to force anything. While there is some challenge, there's no force. And bands shouldn't have to go through, like you shouldn't have to slip any bands through each other here unless they're in the wrong position, okay? So now I'm going to turn this around because I'm going to feed in this next one, this next outermost band, okay? So I'm going to turn it around so that I can work with this band. And I'm going to make sure these two bands are under it. So see, it's kind of locked up in there. So I need to just make sure it's loose and not locked up like it was before, tangled or twisted. Okay, so it's loose. So again, I can turn it. So the face of it, the top of it is inside of that hole. And again, I fold it down. Okay, now I'm going to turn the ring again. And again, making sure I put that band on top of its partner next to it, so it's not twisted or tangled inside there. And I'm going to turn it inside, and I'm going to fold it down. Okay, now I've got one last band. Depending on the size of the ring that you have, this step could be a little bit more challenging. The smaller the size ring you have, the tighter this space may be. Okay? So this is a size 10 ring. I like to use size 10s on the videos because I just feel like you can see it better. So what I'm going to do is take this last band. I'm going to loosen these outer bands that I've already placed just a little bit. See, I'm loosening them just a little bit, kind of creating some space for myself. I'm going to turn it into that little hole. And again, folding it down. So this is the solution for the 6WB. I hope it's been helpful. I know I'm a fast talker, so I always recommend folks use the playback speed. Adjust that for how fast you need this video to go. Pause the video, rewind, go back. There is some trial and error with solving puzzle rings, but hopefully once you've figured it out the first time, you'll be able to do it every other time after that. This is Tammy from puzzlering.com and utchtuk.com, and I hope this video was helpful.